Welcome back. Welcome back to the second part of the Derby City Council's annual general meeting. Item 7 is apologies. So I'll take apologies again. We seem to have more members in this half. That's good. No apologies? Item 8, any declarations of interest? Item 9, minutes of the council meeting held on the 27th of February and the 21st of March. We will now approve the minutes of the meeting of the council on the 27th of February and the extraordinary meeting held on the 21st of March. Will somebody please move the minutes? Thank you, Councillor Pearce. And seconder, thank you, Councillor Ingle. All, are they agreed? Please show. Thank you. Any against? Thank you. I will just say that there are a lot of new councillors here today. If I don't get your name right, please accept my apologies because there are a lot of new faces. So I'll do my best. Okay, item 10 is announcements by the Mayor. I have several announcements to make before we proceed with the meeting. First of all, I'd like to thank councillors for my election earlier today. It is a privilege to have been elected to this historic office, and I will do my very best to uphold the values and traditions associated with it. I will look forward to chairing these meetings over the course of the next year. I'd like to encourage all councillors to behave respectfully towards one another and to carefully observe the council procedure rules. And where we disagree, please do so agreeably. I'd like to congratulate all the councillors once again on their election and hope you enjoy the experience over the next 4 years. Finally, I'd like to thank the returning officer and her team for organising this council's first all-out election in more than 20 years and for facilitating our annual meeting today. Next, to address some housekeeping matters, councillors will note that updated versions of items 14, 16 and 17 were circulated after the publication of the agenda. These are the appointments to constitutional committees, outside bodies and neighbourhood boards. I expect that several votes are likely to be required on appointments. Please be patient as we go through this process and be sure that you indicate your preferences clearly. Finally, I understand from Councillor Kerr that she wishes to withdraw the motion that has been published at item 21 on the council agenda. Councillor Kerr, can you just confirm that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, that's the case. The government saw in its wisdom that it was going to revert to the previous position, so it is no longer needed.
That's the end of my announcements. Does Councillor Shanker want to?
I do, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much. Under CP 42R, I'd like to move a urgent motion, which, with your permission, would like to debate maybe at the end of the meeting. It's in relation to Great British Rail. I
have seen this previously prior to the meeting, and I've accepted that as a late item. So that will be at the very end of the motions. So, item 11, we come on to the important election of the leader of the council. Following the local elections, I understand that Councillor Polsler has informed Democratic Services that he intends to resign as the leader of the council with effect from today. The council constitution requires that the leader of the council is elected for a 4-year term of office unless they resign or are no longer a councillor or are removed from office by the council. I would therefore like to invite nominations for the position of leader. Councillor Peatfield. Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Dinser, thank you. Are there any more nominations? Councillor Peatfield, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to say a few words. Baggy and I have worked together as a team for 5 years. He is an excellent ward colleague, if he does say so himself. He has been a mentor and a valued friend. In his 15 years as a councillor, he has shown true leadership in this council house and in our ward of Sinfin and Osmaston. He's an expert networker, problem solver, a negotiator. Quite simply, Baggy is a person who makes things happen. He always has Derby's best interests at heart, which makes him an excellent leader for Derby and Derby City Council. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you for that. Does the seconder... No? Any other speakers? Okay, do we take that to a vote? Yes. All those in favour? All those against? That's carried. Congratulations, Councillor Shanker. Item 12 is the announcement of the Council Cabinet. We will now move to the announcement of the Council Cabinet. I will move the motion as printed and receive the announcement. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Repson, thank you. I will take the approval of the meeting as given unless a councillor wishes to object. Would you like to speak on this?
I would, Mr Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Peatfield. Thank you, colleagues in the Labour group, and thank you to the residents of Sinfin and Osmaston who re-elected me as their councillor. It's a huge honour for me to be elected as the councillor for Sinfin and Osmaston for the 5th term, and very humbling to be elected as the Labour and cooperative leader of this council today. Can I also congratulate all councillors for being elected, and especially those councillors who have been elected for the first time, and welcome to their first day of council business here today. Mr Mayor, we launched a very exciting and ambitious manifesto at the beginning of the recent election campaign. A vision for Derby that I am determined we will deliver in full. We listened to local people and created that vision based on their priorities. That's why it is now absolutely essential that we deliver what we said we would. Derby, people's priorities. 13 years of austerity has been hard. It's been hard for the people of Derby, and it's been hard for Derby City Council. It has been compounded by 5 years of decline, headed by the local Tories. 5 years of dithering, and the people of Derby have decided enough is enough. They have voted for change. Our manifesto sets out clear priorities. We will put people first. For the 15 years, I have fought for 4-year electoral cycles. We now have that unique moment to seize the opportunity 4-year electoral cycles affords our city. To make the decisions that are needed to benefit the residents of our city, we must work together, improve people's lives. I am confident that we have some of the best officers, civil servants working for this authority. We need to ensure everybody is valued, empowered, listened to, and allowed to contribute to make improvements that this council needs. We have committed to keeping Ashgate Nursery open. We are committed to keeping all community-managed libraries open. We will create a city centre task force to make our high street vibrant and restore pride in our city centre. We will deliver a climate and recycling hub to protect our planet and the futures for our children. There are just a few of the exciting plans that we have for our beloved city, and we will have 4 years to deliver them. But one task we must undertake right away is to review this year's budget. In this very chamber earlier this year, I said the Tory budget was a bad budget. We need to review the budget urgently and attempt to right some wrongs. We will then introduce free bulky waste and recycling collection services Communities across Derby are desperate in need for this. Fly tipping is on the increase, and we will make sure fly tippers are caught and punished. And while I'm on the subject of rubbish, let me tell you my position on the Sinfin incinerator remains unchanged. I opposed the plans 15 years ago, and I still oppose them now. Now we are in charge, we will deal with it. We will do the right thing for local people and our city. For the last 5 years, the Cabinet has lacked leadership, credibility and ambition. Today, that will change. We will not shy away from difficult decisions or issues. We will deal them head-on in a practical way, pragmatic and find affordable solutions. We will deliver authentic leadership for an optimistic, inspiring and confident future for the residents of our city. I am proud to announce the Cabinet taking this forward and the bold and ambitious plans that we have. Mr. Mayor, as leader, I will be responsible for strategy, governance and finance. Our Deputy Leader, Councillor Nadine Pinkfield, will be responsible for the city centre, responsible for regeneration, culture and tourism. Councillor Carmel Swan will be in charge of climate change, transport and sustainability. Councillor Paul Heselgrave will look into the cost of living crisis, equalities and customer inclusion. Councillor Alison Martin, integrated health and adult care. Councillor John Whitby, children's social care, learning and skills. Councillor Shiraz Khan, housing, property and other regulatory services. And finally, Councillor Hardul Dinzer, communities and street pride. This strong Cabinet brings a wealth of experience and determination to deliver the people's priorities. Together we have the ideas, the vision, the energy to take our wonderful city forward, and I'm eager to get on with the job. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any? Do we have anybody who wishes to speak on the item? Okay. Can we take this to a vote? All those in favour?
No vote, there's no.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. No vote on that. Item 13 is the schedule of meetings. Councillors have before them the draft schedule of meetings for the forthcoming year. I will move the substantive document before we discuss any potential amendments. Do I have a seconder, please? Anybody? Thank you, Councillor Hassel. Are there any speakers? Does anybody want to make any amendments? Okay, can we put that to the vote? All those in favour? Anybody against? Thank you, that's carried. Item 14 is the constitutional appointments. We now move to the constitutional appointments. Councillors have before them the proposed appointments for the forthcoming year. I will shortly be asking for nominations to any unfulfilled positions and conduct a vote for any positions where multiple nominations have been received, as indicated by the document circulated in advance of the meeting. Once any contested positions are resolved, I will then move to the constitutional appointments and we will vote on the document as a whole. Is that understandable? Okay, I'm going to now pass over to Alex.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will take councillors through the constitutional appointments document that's published at item 14 on your agendas. I will deal with each committee in turn, first seeking to fill any vacancies before taking any amendments to the nominations that have been submitted in advance of the meeting, and then resolving any uncontested positions. So first of all, to move to the Executive Scrutiny Board, I believe the only unresolved matter on the nominations here is a contested position for the chair between Councillor Martin Repton and Councillor Chris Poulter. Could I have those councillors in favour of Councillor Repton as the chair, please? And those in favour of Councillor Poulter, please. Councillor Poulter is therefore the Council's nomination to the as Chair of the Executive Scrutiny Board. There are no unresolved matters against the Corporate Services Scrutiny Review Board, so we move to the Regeneration and Housing Scrutiny Review Board. There are 2 contested positions to this board. The first for the Chair. Nominations have been received for Councillor Rawson and Councillor Philip Ingle. Could I have all those in favour of Councillor Rawson, please? And those in favour of Councillor Phil Ingle, please. Councillor Ingle is therefore appointed as the Chair. Secondly, the Vice Chair. Nominations have been received for Councillor Nawaz and for Councillor Matthew Holmes. Those in favour of Councillor Nawaz, please. Councillor Matthew Holmes, please. Councillor Matthew Holmes is therefore the nomination. For the Children and Young People Scrutiny Review Board, Councillor Lonsdale has been nominated as the Chair and is unopposed. For the Vice Chair, Councillor Kozlowski and Councillor Truella have both been nominated. Those in favour of Councillor Kozlowski, please. And those in favour of Councillor Truella. Councillor Truella is therefore nominated. There are no unresolved matters on the Adults and Health Board or the Community Scrutiny Review Board. Councillor Ralston is the nomination for Chair of the Adults Board with Councillor Cuss as the Vice Chair. Councillor Eyre is nominated as the Chair of the Communities Board with Councillor Celia Ingle as the Vice Chair. So to move to page 2 of the document. On the regulatory committees, on the Planning Control Committee, there is a contested position for the Chair. Nominations have been received for Councillor Sarah Bolton and Councillor Jerry Pearce. Those in favour of Councillor Bolton, please. Those in favour of Councillor Pearce. Councillor Pearce is therefore the nomination as Chair of the Planning Control Committee. On the Licensing Committee, again, there is a contested position for the Chair of that committee. Councillor Jangir Khan has been nominated and Councillor Alison Holmes has been nominated. Those in favour of Councillor Jangir Khan, please. Those in favour of Councillor Alison Holmes. Councillor Alison Holmes is therefore nominated. The 4 Vice Chair positions to that committee are uncontested and will be filled by Councillors Potter, John Wright, Lindsay and Hudson. There are no unresolved matters in relation to the Corporate Parenting Committee, the Investigating and Disciplinary Committee, the Disciplinary Appeals Committee or the Disputes Resolution Committee. On the Audit and Governance Committee, there is a contested nomination for the Chair of that committee. Nominations have been received from Councillor Wilson and Councillor Morgan McGeehan. Could we have those in favour of Councillor Wilson, please? And Councillor Morgan McGeehan, please. Councillor Morgan McGeehan is therefore nominated as the Chair of the Audit and Governance Committee. Moving to page 3, in relation to joint bodies. There is a contested position for the Council's constituent nomination to the Derbyshire Police and Crime Panel. Nominations have been received for both Councillor Dinser and Councillor Potter to that position, as well as 2 nominations for the substitute. Apologies, councillors. Sorry, I've jumped ahead a page. Apologies, councillors. In relation to the Personnel Committee, there is a contested position for for the Chair of that committee between Councillor Bonser and Councillor Evans. But before I deal with that, there is also an independent vacancy. Can I just confirm that there's no nomination to that committee? Okay, thank you. Therefore, for the Chair, those in favour of Councillor Bonser, please. Those in favour of Councillor Evans. Councillor Evans is therefore nominated as the Chair. There is a vacancy in the position of the Vice Chair of the Personnel Committee. Could I take any nominations to that position, please?
I nominate Councillor Bonser.
Thank you, Councillor Peatfield. Unless there are any other nominations, Councillor Bonser is therefore nominated as the Vice Chair of the Personnel Committee. On the next committee, the Conservation and Heritage Advisory Committee, there is an independent vacancy. Again, don't wish to make a nomination. Thank you. I understand there may be an alteration to appointments to the Standards Committee. Is that correct? Did you wish to make an alteration to your appointment to the Standards Committee? No, you didn't. Okay. Thank you, councillors. Therefore, the Standards Committee is as printed on the agenda. In terms of the Health and Wellbeing Board, the appointments to the Health and Wellbeing Board are made by the statutory member. Therefore, that is the leader of the council. However, we would take expressions of interest from any councillors who wish to be represented on the Health and Wellbeing Board for the leader to consider. Currently, expressions of interest have been received from councillors Martin, Ashby, Kerr and Lonsdale. Are there any additions to that list? Thank you, councillors. Apologies. We'll now return to the joint bodies. As I mentioned earlier, there is a contested position for the chair and the substitute position for the Derby City Council nomination to the Derbyshire Police and Crime Panel. Nominations have been received for Councillor Dinser and Councillor Potter. Those in favour of Councillor Dinser, please. And those in favour of Councillor Potter. Councillor Potter is therefore the nomination to the Police and Crime Panel. And the substitutes to Councillor Potter, there are nominations have been received for Councillor Peatfield and Councillor John Wright. Those in favour of Councillor Peatfield, please. And those in favour of Councillor John Wright. Councillor John Wright is therefore appointed as the substitute. That concludes everything in relation to the committees. The only outstanding matters are now the champion positions to which the council appoints each year. First of all, I understand printed on the document that 2 nominations have been received for the position of disability champion. Am I correct in understanding that one of those nominations has been withdrawn? Councillor Morgan McGeehan has withdrawn his nomination to that position. There is currently a vacancy to the position of older people's champion. Can I have any nominations, please? No? Okay. Secondly, Children and Young People's Champion. Any nominations, please? Councillor Smale has put himself forward as the nomination for that position. A vacancy is also available to the position of Gender Champion. Any nominations, please?
I nominate Councillor Cecile Wright.
Thank you, Councillor Peatfield. Unless there are any other nominations, I'll proceed to the Corporate Safeguarding Champion. Anyone wish to make any nominations in relation to that position? Councillor Morgan McGeehan has nominated himself to that position. Mr. Mayor, I believe that concludes the voting on the various vacancies and contested positions. You are now able to move the substantive document and put it to the vote for council.
Thank you. Can I have a vote, a show of hands in favour of the document that we've just agreed? All those in favour? Anybody against? Thank you very much. Okay, so we now move on to constitutional amendments. We will consider a report of the monitoring officer which proposes amendments to the council constitution to reflect recent changes to the composition of the council. It's normally the leader of the council that moves this. Are you happy to move this, Councillor Shango?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, happy to move it as printed.
Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you. Does anybody would like to speak on it? Can I have a vote of show of hands? Those in favour, please. And those against. Thank you, that's carried. Item 16 is appointments to neighbourhood boards. We will consider the appointments to the chair positions for the 18 neighbourhood boards and ward committees. I will hand this over to Alex to go through the various wards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand there are only 2 matters to be resolved in relation to the neighbourhood chairs. In relation to Chaddesden North, I understand nominations have been received for both Councillor Hudson and Councillor Wilson to be the chair of the Neighbourhood Board. Therefore, we'll need to put that to the vote. Those in favour of Councillor Hudson, please. Those in favour of Councillor Wilson. Councillor Hudson is therefore elected as the chair of the Chaddesden Neighbourhood Board. The second unresolved matter relates to 2 nominations received for the Mackworth and New Zealand Ward. I understand Councillor Pandy is withdrawing his nomination to that position, and therefore Councillor Whitby is the nomination to the Mackworth and New Zealand Neighbourhood Board. That means there is only 1 nomination to each of the 18 neighbourhood boards, and the document can be moved and voted on, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Can I have a show of hands? Those in favour? Anybody against? Thank you very much. Item 17 is the appointments to outside bodies and charities. We will next approve the appointments to the outside bodies and charities, which has been circulated in advance of the meeting. For the final time, we will conduct any votes for contestants' positions that may be required, as well as seeking to fill any remaining vacancies. Over to you, Alex.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I will take you through the document. When this document was published, the election of the Leader of the Council and the announcement of the Cabinet was outstanding. Therefore, any positions that are listed for the Leader of the Council or the relevant Cabinet member will be allocated subsequent to this meeting to the most appropriate individual. The first item requiring resolution are 2 nominations received to the Derby and District Ex-Services Association. Nominations have been received from Councillor Dinser, for Councillor Dinser and Councillor Lindsay. Could I therefore have all those in favour of Councillor Dinser, please? All those in favour of Councillor Lindsay, please? Councillor Lindsay is therefore appointed as the councillor's nomination to that outside body. The next contested position is in relation to Community Action Derby, formerly Derby CVS. The outside body has requested 2 appointments. 3 nominations have been received from Councillors Hesselgrave, Nawaz and Prosser. A vote is therefore required to the 2 positions, so we will take the numbers for each individual and then we will eliminate the 3rd place candidate. So,
Councillor.
thank you. Just to confirm, Councillor Nawaz is withdrawing his nomination. Therefore, the appointees to that position are Councillors Hesselgrave and Prosser. The next matter outstanding is in relation to the Derby Dance Centre Development Board. They have requested 2 appointments and only 1 nomination has been received from Councillor Onwaha. Are there any further nominations, please?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Alison Martin.
Thank you, Councillor Beatfield. Any further nominations? Okay, we'll proceed to the next outside body. The next outside body is the Derby Homes Board, where 3 appointments of 3 elected members are required. Nominations have been received from 4 councillors. Could we therefore have all those in favour of Councillor Kerr, please? All those in favour of Councillor Evans, please? All those in favour of Councillor Shiraz Khan, please? All those in favour of Councillor Mulhall, please? Thank you, councillors. To confirm, councillors Kerr, Evans and Mulhall have been nominated to the Derby Homes Board. To move to page 2. 2 nominations have been received to the Derby Housing Market Area Joint Advisory Board and only 1 nomination is required. Nominations have been received from Councillor Shiraz Khan and Councillor Pearce. Those in favour of Councillor Shiraz Khan, please. Those in favour of Councillor Pearce. Councillor Pearce is therefore the nomination. The next matter requiring resolution is in relation to the Derbyshire County Council Pensions and Investment Committee. 2 appointments are required from the council. Nominations have been received from 3 candidates, Councillors Amin, Ashby and Kerr. Do we wish to put that to the vote, councillors, or?
Just a little conflab. Councillor Amin is happy to withdraw. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Peatfield. Councillor Amin is withdrawing. Therefore, Councillors Ashby and Kerr are nominated. The next matter is the Derbyshire Environmental Trust. One appointment is required. Nominations have been received from Councillor Kerr and Councillor Swan. All those in favour of Councillor Kerr, please. All those in favour of Councillor Swan. Councillor Kerr is therefore the council's nomination. To move to page 3. The only outstanding matter on this page is that 2 nominations have been made to the Guru Ravidas Sabha Community Centre Management Group. Only 1 appointment is required. Nominations have been received for Councillor Graves and Councillor Sandhu. All those in favour of Councillor Graves, please. Sorry.
You just have clear indication, please, from those in favour, Councillor Graves.
Thank you, councillors. Councillor Graves is therefore confirmed as the council's appointment to that outside body. The only remaining outstanding matter is in relation to the appointments to charities on the final page of the document. There is 1 vacancy has arisen on appointments to Derby City Charity. Those appointments must be a councillor, and therefore the previous appointment of former Councillor Danielle Lind has expired. Do we have any nominations to that vacancy, please? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe that resolves all of the outstanding matters, and again, the substantive document can be moved and put to the vote.
Thank you very much. Can I have a show in favour of the document that you've all just voted on? All those in favour? Anybody against? Thank you very much. Okay, councillors, item 18, councillors have before them for approval the attendance as an annual conference, which I will move. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you. Does anybody want to speak on the item? Can I have a show of hands, all those in favour? Anybody against? Thank you. Okay, item 19. It's now my pleasure to introduce an item endorsing the election of the Youth Mayor and the Deputy Youth Mayor for the next year. Citywide elections held in February saw almost 11,000 ballot papers cast. It's always wonderful to see how many young people getting their first taste of the democratic process. Every year we're impressed by the talent young people put themselves forward. As a councillor as every councillor in this room knows, standing for election is not an easy thing to do. I will move the recommendations as printed, and subject to their approval, we will invite the outgoing Youth Mayor and Deputy Youth Mayor to address the meeting before Mohammed and Harman take their declarations of acceptance of office. Can I take a seconder? Thank you. Anybody wish to speak on this? I can now invite... Sorry? Do we not invite them to speak first? Okay. All those in favour? Or anybody against? Thank you very much. I now invite the retiring Youth Mayor and Deputy Youth Mayor to address the meeting.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, elected representatives officers and members of the public. What a year it has been. The time has really flown past. A year down the line, with the GCSEs out the way, A-levels well underway, and university in the pipeline. Amongst all this, the focus really had been to honour and deliver as the Youth Mayor of Derby. Having profiling the Youth Mayor role on BBC Radio Derby with Jack Tymon highlighting what the role of the Youth Mayor is and creating the awareness on issues affecting children and young people today. Since winning the mandate back last year, I promised to deliver on three key priorities of my manifesto. These were raising awareness on knife crime, raising awareness on mental health, and highlighting and creating awareness on post-16 opportunities. What have I delivered? Well, with priority 1 being knife crime, I delivered presentations to create the awareness across the target audience, being children and young people. Research and focus groups were compiled and data was collated, which I delivered to key stakeholders such as the Chief Constable of Derbyshire Constabulary, Michelle Shooter. The outcome of these actions identified perceptions on carrying knife amongst youth needed to change. I negotiated and secured funding from the Chief Constable of Derbyshire Constabulary and attracted local artists to partnership an anti-knife crime music drill video, which is to be rolled out and released to schools in the new academic year. In summary, on this priority, 1 has identified the cause and the effect and the awareness that needs to be given to this particular crime. Moving on to my second priority, being mental health. I delivered presentations to various schools across the city to try and understand how mental health affected children and young people. The research collated was presented to doctors via Gloria. On World Mental Health Day, I delivered a speech and worked with the CAMS organisation to officially open a mental health centre in Normanton alongside Ifti Majid, the Chief Executive of Derbyshire Healthcare Foundation Trust. My final priority was to highlight and create awareness on post-16 opportunities. I discussed with school councils across our city, finding the areas that needed to be improved in order to have a successful, stress-free transition from secondary school to any post-16 options. We also highlighted where there was a lack of opportunity, whether this be through information or struggling on whom to contact, but both Gloria and I are working with D2N2 to try and provide the best possible solutions. I, Omar Aslam, am honoured and privileged to have served as Derby's Youth Mayor 2022 to 2023, and for that I would like to thank the Chamber for the help and support that I have received throughout my term in office. A special thank you to Alex for his guidance, Adele for her one-to-one mentoring, Holly for all the support, Russell for supporting me in Voices in Actions meetings. I would also like to thank the former Mayor, Mr. Robin Wood, for his great companionship on events, as well as other councillors, Councillor Shankar and Yvonne Williams. And finally, I would like to thank the whole Chamber, as well as Derby City Council, for a great opportunity. And last but not least, I would like to thank my granddad, Mr. Mohammed Raja Aslam, who has been instrumental throughout my term in office. I would like to congratulate the new Youth Mayor, Munty and Harman, the Deputy Youth Mayor, on their inauguration, and good luck for the next 12 months. Once again, thank you all.
Good afternoon. I'm honoured that I was elected as the Deputy Youth Mayor in 2022 to 2023. It has been a magnificent experience working with different loads of people and going to meetings that I thought I would never be able to go to. During this past year, I have acquired a lot of skills such as critical thinking, effective communication, and overall a general increase in my knowledge, which I believe that I will be using throughout my day-to-day life. I would like to thank everyone for the support and the guidance that they've given me throughout my year. I would like to thank Alex, Adele, Holly, and everyone else. It has been a privilege. I can't believe that this year has gone past so far. I would also like to appreciate the help that I've had to ensure that I go into schools to talk to young peoples, which was one of my main concerns, to be able to get young people's views and concerns about mental health and job opportunities and about knife crime. And this has allowed me to have a clearer, effective view of young people's needs and views in Derby. I am sure that because of the work that I and Omar have put in this past year, young people will have the best possible outcomes. I've had loads of experiences which I will take on, and most importantly, time management, as I was juggling my university education and being a deputy youth mayor. Thank you all, and I would like to congratulate Harman and Mohammed, and I hope that everything goes well and you'll do an amazing job. Thank you.
I have to say that was some of the better speeches I've heard in this council chamber. So well done. Thank you to Omar and Gloria. You've done a fantastic job. Thank you. Will the newly elected youth mayor and deputy youth mayor come to the front to take your declaration, please?
All right.
Mr. Youth Mayor, I will now ask you to take the formal declaration of acceptance of office. If you can repeat after me. I, Mohammed Muntasir, having been elected.
I, Mohammed Muntasir, have been elected
To the office of Youth Mayor of the City of Derby.
to the office of Youth Mayor for the City of Derby.
Declare that I
Declare that I
take that office upon myself
take that office upon myself
and will duly and faithfully
and will duly and faithfully
fulfill the duties of it,
fulfill the duties of it,
according to the best of my judgment and ability.
according to the best of my judgment and ability.
I affirm my commitment
I affirm my commitment
to represent the voices of young people in Derby
to represent the voices of young people in Derby
and to corporate parenting
and to corporate parenting
in respect of the City Council's children in care.
in respect to the City Council's children and care.
I pledge to take every opportunity
I pledge to take every opportunity
presented to me by virtue of my role
presented to me by virtue of my role
to promote the well-being of children and young people,
to promote the well-being of children and young people,
and particularly those in the care of the City Council.
and particularly those in the care of the City Council.
I undertake to observe
I aim to take to observe
the codes as to the conduct
the codes as to the conduct
which are expected of representatives of Derby City Council.
which are expected of representatives of Derby City Council.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Madam Deputy Youth Mayor, I will now ask you to take the formal declaration of acceptance of office. If you can repeat after me. I, Harman Kaur, having been elected.
I, Harman Kaur, having been elected to the office of Derby Youth Mayor and the City of Derby, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfill the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I affirm my commitment to represent the voices of young people in Derby and to corporate parenting in respect of the City Council's children in care. I pledge to take every opportunity presented to me to the virtue of my role to promote the well-being of children and young people, and particularly to those in the care of the City Council. I aim to take and observe the codes as to conduct which are expected of representatives of Derby City Council.
Thank you. Congratulations. I'm going to present.
Good afternoon, all. It is still baffling to know that the same kid who isolated himself in school and had no experience of public speaking is now standing here, ready to become the Derby Youth Mayor. Through a vast journey of building his confidence and oracy through experience. That has only been possible through my passion for positive change for our youth, for us. I commit myself to doing whatever I can within my ability to work towards my three aims of environment, safety, and equality for Derby for the next generations. Whether that's taking small steps, such as organising local litter pickings, to citywide campaigns to reduce fly tipping, I will take whatever steps are needed to serve our youth. I would like to thank my family, friends, Noel Baker, Allenton, the previous deputy and youth mayors, and Harman, and most importantly, my faith, for allowing me to reach this pivotal moment in my life, and I'll ensure that it is not wasted, as our youth deserve the best, which we, me and Harman, will work towards. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. I'm very grateful to be here, and I see this as an opportunity to give myself in service to the young people in the city, and ultimately, the future generation of Derby. As I once remembered 2 years ago, this position was just a thought, or a maybe, that seemed so far away when I first joined the Voices in Action Youth Council. And today, I can finally say that this is the start of a new journey, where I say goodbyes to the maybes and pledge to carry on the legacy left behind by the previous youth mayors, who I'd also like to say a huge congratulations to for completing their term in office. My aim is to create the future that we can all be proud of. To achieve this, I will focus on the 3 topics I stand for, which are mental health, which I can proudly say has already taken a kickstart, with the founding of the Campaign for Courage, which can also be found on Instagram at CFC_Derby. That is co-founded by me and my friend Sadia, and it aims to break the ice and encourage young people to be more courageous and resilient, because I know from personal experiences that mental health can affect all, and it truly is time we break those stereotypes. Financial issues are also what I spoke about back in December. Those mainly affect university and college students, and I am constantly trying to see insights to the topic and see how we can help smoothen the process of getting into adulthood, and how I'm an avid believer in equity, and how I think problems revolving around job opportunities can be solved for young people around Derby that welcome all disabilities too and are made more accessible. I'd like to say a huge congratulations to Mohammed Muntasir, aka Munti, for also achieving the position of Youth Mayor, who I look very forward to working with. Together we will develop and create effective solutions that address these challenges and help young people thrive. Once again, I thank you all for your support and confidence in me. I pledge to work tirelessly and to make a positive difference for young people across the community. Thank you.
I'd just like to offer my congratulations to Mohammed and Harman, and may it be a very good year for you. Okay, we now move on to the notice of motions, and the very first one is the Freedom of City, moved by Councillor Atwell and seconded by Councillor Lonsdale. Councillor Atwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It gives me great pleasure to be proposing this motion today to ask the Council to agree to bestow the honour of freedom of the City of Derby on Sandy Ryan. Sandy was born in Derby and grew up in Elveston, where she attended Noel Baker School. She began her boxing career at the age of 14 at the One Nation Amateur Boxing Club here in Derby. At the age of 18, Sandy gained a place on the England women's boxing team. She was part of the England team for 9 years, winning a silver medal at the World Championships in 2014. A year later, Sandy won a bronze medal at the European Games in Baku and won her second England boxing title in 2016. At the 2018 Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast in Australia, she won a gold medal in the welterweight category. Sandy then turned professional in 2021 and has had 7 fights, winning the WBC international belt in the 140 pounds division. In April this year, Sandy won the WBO world title in the 147 pound division, welterweight. Sandy's achievements show what discipline, perseverance can achieve. She is a shining example to others and a very talented boxer. We feel it's right that Sandy's home city should recognise her, because at the end of the day, she is one of our own. Her achievements, and agree to bestow upon her the freedom of the city. I ask all councillors to join me in voting for this and offering Sandy Ryan the freedom of the city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Lonsdale, would you like to speak, or would you like to reserve your right to speak?
I'll speak now, if that's okay, Mr. Mayor. It gives me great pleasure to second this motion. Sandy is a young woman who has already achieved so much and has done so much to represent Derby on the world stage, as Ajit has just informed us. Personally, I don't really know a great deal about boxing, which will be a surprise to absolutely nobody in this room, but that doesn't matter. If you back this motion, you're not just acknowledging a remarkable young person who fully deserves this honour in her own right, but you are making history. Sandy will be the first woman to receive the freedom of the city ever, City of Derby ever. And as this is the city's highest honour, that's a disgrace. So it's not just about Sandy, but it's about acknowledging the thousands of strong, talented, amazing women who have lived in this city and made us all proud. I hope you will support this motion, and I hope that Sandy will not be the only woman to hold this honour for long. Please support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Lonsdale. Councillor Pearce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I first came across Sandy 16 or 17 years ago on a cold Saturday morning whilst running the line for my daughter's football team. Derby County Ladies versus St George's, who Sandy played for. A grudge match, as it seemed that each year the top two in the league and the cup finalists all seemed to be those two teams. One girl stuck out in the opposition lineup, Sandy Ryan. Good with her feet, good team player, and could wind up her opponents and the parents that came to watch her. This continued for a few years until the team split up, but fast forward 4 or 5 years and the name Sandy Ryan cropped up again, this time in the amateur boxing ranks. Was this the same girl? It was, and paying close attention to her in those amateur fights, she started decent footwork and still with a great team, but this time it was with the GB and English amateur boxing teams. What followed? World silver medal in 2014, world bronze medal in 2016, and then she topped it off with Commonwealth gold in 2018 on the Gold Coast of Australia. A few setbacks after that, but eventually turning professional with Matchroom Boxing in 2021. Alongside her through those good times and the bad was Clifton Mitchell, her trainer at One Nation Boxing Club in Derby. Rising through the professional ranks in the last 2 years with only a loss to Erica Farias to her name, and I put that down to fighting at the Nottingham Arena. The opportunity to fight for the vacant WBO welterweight title came up. The gal from Alveston did us proud and came out on top in the fight in Cardiff with a unanimous points decision. The fight to unify all of the belts in the division is next on the cards for our Sandy, a Derby girl through and through. A great ambassador for the sport and a role model for young girls who are following her into boxing. I can't think of anyone more worthy to receive this honour. Our group will fully back this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pearce. Thank you for highlighting there are some good fighters in Alveston. Councillor Dinser.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I add my support and the Labour Group support in terms of this motion, in terms of giving Sandy Ryan the freedom of the city of Derby? Achievement and ambition and success should always be applauded. And somebody at such a young age and as a woman, the first woman, as was said by Councillor Vale, to be considered for the freedom of the city of Derby, I think it's a proud moment, and her success recently and her challenges in the past, and using them not to deter her, but to motivate her to continue to strive and achieve. Those are examples that I think we can all learn from and actually take heart from. And I think it's really important that we recognise this hard work and the challenges particularly women face in a sport where until recently recognition was not probably as good as it should have been. And I know we've had successes in other parts of the country with in boxing for women, but it's really pleasing to see one of our own from the city of Derby getting to this high position and success, and may she go from strength to strength and have many more. So the Labour Group and myself are more than pleased to support this resolution to give Sandy Ryan the freedom of the city. I mean, we need to make sure that everything goes to plan and doesn't get scuppered in the way later on.
Thank you, Councillor Dinser. I don't have any more hands for showing, so offering Councillor Outwell to sum up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Dinser and Councillor Pearce, for your contribution in offering and honouring Sandy Ryan for this great award. Like I said, she's not away, and she's not disappearing. She's stopping here because she's one of our own. She's a Derby girl born and bred. And also, I'd like to take this opportunity thanking my good friend Clifton Mitchell, who also has won an accolade of winning a World Championship coach honour. So, thank you all, and let's go to the vote, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All those in favour of the motion? Anybody against? That is carried. Thank you very much. We now move to the urgent item as raised by Councillor Shankar. Councillor Shankar, first of all, do we have a seconder? Oh, thank you.
Pause while they hand copies of the motion around.
Okay, right, yeah, we just have a pause while the motion's handed out. Please continue, Councillor Shanker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This is a timely motion, and I appreciate you for allowing this, given the urgency. We all know the success of Derby's bid to be the home for GBR and have the headquarters here in Derby, and that bid, following the competitive process, was successful and announced by government just earlier in March this year. Unfortunately, there have been stories in national papers suggesting there may not be legislative time allowed in the King's Speech for the bill to progress and GBR to come to reality. I intend to write to government to urge them to allow time for GBR to be legislated for, and I think that letter would be so much more powerful if we could all in this chamber support that letter. Let's not forget, at the expression of interest stage, Derby was the strongest bid, judged to be the strongest bid by some way. The public vote, we got over 45,000 votes, 5,000 votes more than the second-placed city. The bid was based on partnership working with the rail sector, and it's the rail sector that are keen to see GBR headquartered here in Derby. It's so important, not just for the industry, but for the millions of passengers who use our railways and need that urgent improvement in the railway system, infrastructure, tracks, trains, tickets, that is so desperately needed. So the letter will highlight this to government once again, and I'm sure they're aware of the importance of doing this, but it's essential that the progress is made and time is allowed in Parliament for the necessary legislation to be passed. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Swan, would you like to speak, or would you like to reserve your right?
I'll reserve my right.
Okay, thank you. Have we got any other speakers? Councillor Kerr.
Thank you. Our group very much supports this. It is something that we were really disappointed to hear that the government seemed to be backpedalling on a week or so ago, and I don't think it does the government justice when it doesn't really provide a reason why it's moving backwards. It feels a bit like being rejected again, just as we've had the rejection of our electrification of the line to London. I feel it comes out we're becoming a second-rate city when we shouldn't be. We should be there at the front, and they need to be told that. So, all power to your pen.
Thank you. Councillor Poulter.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can I say at the outset, I think my group, this group, will be supporting this motion. Bad habits, habits you've got to get out of. All I would urge is a little bit of caution, a tiny bit of caution, because there is a slight danger here in pouring fuel onto a non-existent fire. In my view, this is little more than newspaper speculation, story making by the media. Since it was published in whatever paper it was, we officers of the council here have excellent relationships with the transition team who have given reassurances. There's been statements by government in relation to their commitment to the process and to Derby being its headquarters. I talked to Michael Gove last Thursday about it, and he had no concerns that he voiced towards me. And lobbying and all the music is great. As Councillor Shanker knows, this was a Team Derby approach to this. When the Minister came to announce the award of the headquarters in Derby earlier this year, he was 110% committed to the process and massively impressed by Derby's bid. And just finally, we as Conservatives will continue to lobby the government. In fact, MP Pauline Latham had an audience with the Prime Minister at 12:30 this morning to press home the importance of it to Derby. I haven't had feedback from her yet, but we'll certainly share that with Councillor Shanker as and when we get that feedback. Just that little bit of caution. Don't let's add fuel to a fire that's non-existent. I think we'll be all right. Yes, we all know that the government's timetable is stacked. They will have to make priorities, but I'm confident that we will make it a priority and deliver in Derby for Great British Rail. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. I think we all appreciate the importance of working together on this. Everyone supported it. We all know how important it is to the city, to the traditional rail industry in the city especially. And not just Derby, but the whole country needs a new organisation like this to sort out the mess that is currently the post-privatised railway industry. However, I think that it's still important to back this and not to think of it adding fuel to some non-existent fire, because remember, the government have a lot of form at suggesting they're going to do something in the railways and then not doing it, namely the electrification of the Midland Main Line and getting into a total mess around which trains they order, as if you can order one train one day, another train another, like you can in a pub. You can't. Once you've ordered your bi-mode trains, you're assuming you've got a bi-mode line, not an electrified line. So they keep changing their minds on that. They've changed their minds on HS2. They have vacillated over this. They asked for a public vote on this in Derby. We all backed it. So I think it's fair enough to go back to them and to remind them what the will of Derby is on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've not seen any other indications of speakers. So, Councillor Falk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm a new member to the council and I'd like to support this motion because I think it's very important that everybody comes together in the city of Derby to support the best that we can do for this city. And like I say, I'm learning as I go along, but I'd just like to support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more speakers? Councillor Shanker, would you like to sum up?
Did you want to speak?
No. Oh, I just kind of touch on what everybody else has said. I think that we've been reassured that the sector itself would really, really appreciate the support. So I think if the Chamber can all come together today and pass this motion, it would be would mean a great deal for Derby City. Thank you.
I do apologise, Councillor Swan. Thank you. Councillor Shanker, would you like to sum up?
Thank you again. And yes, and really wanted to make that point that Councillor Swan has just made. I'd like to reassure Councillor Poulter particularly, but anybody else, there is no fire and we're not adding any fuel to the fire. During this last week or so, I have been engaging with the sector and the industry, and they've suggested themselves it would be a good idea for this chamber to write this letter to government. The campaign must remain strong. We must get the legislation that's needed to allow this project to move forward and move forward at pace. So no fire, no fuel, just working collectively together to make sure GBR happens and happens as soon as it can.
Thank you. I now move to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? Thank you. That is carried. That brings today's business of the annual meeting to a close. Thank you for your perseverance, and as we've negotiated the various constitutional appointments, I look forward to working with you over the rest of the year, and I will see you again in our next meeting in July.